I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. All this time. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving. 'Cause you got tired of my scheming for the last time. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. The tea time. Everybody agrees. It's exhausting, always rooting for the end to keep you running.
Hello, this is Kimberly from Ramblings with Kim. I'm not rambling as much anymore. In fact, I have decided to do this one over again. Only because I don't want to ramble as much, and I've talked it over with my husband a little bit this time. So, as some of you know, yes, I've talked to some of my old teammates from, 40 years ago, when we were young and Title IX was relatively new. Remember Title IX? I'm sure most women athletes know all about Title IX because at least it was how I was able to go to college. And it's how a lot of women nowadays are able to go to college. So it was really sad, or I should say pathetic, when the head of the 4J school district, Grodinger, okay, something around those lines, since he didn't bother to check out the facts really before he talked to me. I guess I really don't have to check out what his name is. Y'all can go find it. Actually, I'll probably put it in Adobe Photoshop Premiere, so you can have his name when we're done, because there's also a couple other things I want to put in here. But yeah, he does what most people do, and that's why I was getting paid what I was getting paid, because not everyone knows that I have a doctorate in psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm very good at understanding people and being able to see, or being able to stay one step ahead of those people. So when someone calls me and says, yeah, I just want to get your take on things. I haven't really talked to anyone yet. So, I just kind of wanted to talk to you and get your viewpoint. That pretty much means that, yes, they've talked to everyone in the situation. They have everything that they need, and they just want to catch you in something so that they can validate what they want. Because, why not? Like I say all the time, why not? It's like a man telling you, your soccer triumph, even though it was the first time that North Eugene girls went to state, shouldn't you be over that by now? Yes, direct quote. I recorded the phone conversation Colorado is a one-party state, as I keep saying on my podcast. And maybe if Brandy ever listened to my podcast, she might be one step ahead of me. But she doesn't. I'm back to drinking Diet Coke because my blood pressure's so low. Yeah, go figure. I stopped drinking Diet Coke. I have to start drinking it again. So, yes, if she would know that, she would know that I record all my phone conversations. The one thing in the military taught me to do from day one was not to record phone conversations, because at the time we didn't have cell phones, because I'm as old as dirt. Okay. What they did tell us to do was to write down everything, and to write down days, times, everything, and make notes of it. So I've always done that. But now you can record everything. And living in Colorado, you have a one-party state. And that is how I got the massive payout from the post office. And yes, one of these days I'll get around to making that podcast as well. And I will explain to everyone what went down, how it went down, and how I was able to win that with doing relatively nothing. Because, yeah, I'm me. So I had told them that I had intended, this is what I intended to do. Was this need to be looked into, this needed to be looked into, this needed to be looked into, this needed to be looked into. And if they were not taken care of, I was going to be litigious. Because they were very simple things, such as Brandy taking personal family information and passing it around, apparently, to whomever she felt she wanted to. Now, for those of you who don't know, Brandy DuBois is my lovely sister-in-law, who I've not seen nor heard from in over 20 years. In fact, I don't believe I met her until she married my brother. She was so lovely. She didn't feel the need to ever go to funerals, weddings, Thanksgivings, Christmases, visits to families, or anything along those lines. I mean, there weren't any narcissistic tendencies that you could have come across with just those kinds of traits popping out along the way. Could you? I mean, I certainly couldn't have looked in the DSM manual and maybe seen some of those. I guess. I knew nothing about her except the few things my brother might have told me in passing. My brother and I have never gotten along. My parents and I have never gotten along. My mother would tell me horrible things about her. I really don't care. I mean, because I really just don't care. And really the only thing I ever heard was that she didn't like me because her father always compared her to me, because I was a really good athlete, but I was always compared to really good athletes. And that was just the way that it was, particularly if you grew up in Eugene and you ran. Now, she was not the athlete that I was when it came to track and field, and that's no fault of her own. That's just, Eugene. But it's her father, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So there's nothing I can do about that. I really don't care. I will say that I did send flowers when someone on Facebook sent me something about her father dying. I sent flowers and told her I was sorry, that we were sorry to have heard that. And true fashion, I never heard anything. I really didn't want to hear anything. I was, yes, being polite because that's me for the most part. Yes, I try. At times, no longer. The gloves have come off. But when I get a letter from the new North Eugene High School principal telling me that the reason that I'm not allowed to view the North Eugene High School soccer Instagram anymore is because there's been a discussion between Brandy and Corey Nicholson, who happened to be a good friend of my brother, and apparently most of that group apparently isn't allowed to leave the 5-mile radius around North Eugene High School, decided based on private family information that I should no longer have access to it. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound right, and it doesn't sound legal. And Brandy knows this because Brandy knows that I will sue her. So, of course, it changed very quickly when I appealed it. And I said, I felt that it happened because we give out a scholarship based on my coach from the first North Eugene High School women's soccer team who made it to state. Yes, Eric Small. And we provide a $500 scholarship to everyone who played soccer at North Eugene that is a first year college student or their parents have not gone to college, their grandparents, they are a new college student for their family. They have gotten a 3.0 and above. They write just a small letter saying, this is what soccer has meant to me and this is why I want to go to college. They get a recommendation from their coach, who doesn't want to give them one, and we give them a check for $500. And we give every girl who meets these qualifications $500. And then the next year, if they meet the same requirements, but they don't have to play soccer, we give them $1,000, and it continues for 4 years or for 3 years after that. Not difficult, is it? But the first year, we didn't get anyone. Catherine Moran said she ran it by everyone, and she was really surprised because she thought there were going to be some girls that were going to apply, but they just didn't. Yeah. The second year, Brandy had a sign out saying that, all scholarships had to be funneled through her father's scholarship program, the Phil Du Bois Soccer Scholarship Program. I said, yeah, no, that's not the game I'm playing. And she knew that. So again, Catherine Moran said, I don't understand. I'm reaching out to these girls and they're not getting back to me. So I just happened to on Instagram, one of the girls was on there and I said, look, we've got a scholarship out there. It's just, $500. Go talk to Catherine. And this girl hadn't even heard of it, contrary to what Catherine Moran had told me. Yes. So I told Catherine, she said she had, I told her, I said, we had somebody apply. And I told her how we had gotten her to apply. Catherine, at the time, because this is what Brandy and Corey Nicholson told, what's his name? The head of 4J, who made sure that I knew he had been a principal as well, that I was actually banned from social media because I had reached out to a girl and had aggressively recruited her for a scholarship. And that wasn't legal. You could passively or aggressively apparently go after students for scholarships. Now, this is the first I've ever heard of it because it wasn't in this letter. It wasn't told to me from Catherine. It wasn't told to me when I asked about being banned or not being given access to the social media from several people, including Corey Nicholson. I was just, ignored. So it was only told when I said it preemptively, when I said I was going to be litigious. And so he waited for me to say that. And that's when he dropped this whole thing on me. Now, I have done my research tonight, and I have not found any information on that unless you're actually recruiting NCAA for a school. We're giving everyone the scholarship. So I'll know more tomorrow, and I'll probably have a part 2 of this tomorrow. But I kind of want to get this out because I'm sure that there will be a registered letter in the mail tonight. And I want them to know that I understand the game that they're playing before they've played it. It's this man going on and on about the fact that he couldn't understand why I would think that this achievement 40 years ago was so important to me, or why it should be more so, why it should be so important to North Eugene High School. We're talking 10 years after the beginning of Title IX, and North Eugene hasn't even implemented Title IX. No, we're playing on a field, a muddy field, off in a corner that used to be a playground for an elementary school. My coach used to get out there at like 7 a.m. on Saturday with a sponge and a bucket to try and dry up the puddles of, because they were just mud and water. That's how bad they were. The boys' field, grass, nice, mowed, perfect. Not ours. We didn't have a trainer. No. Our bus broke down for our bus ride to Ashland. Bus broke down on the way back. We had to wait for another bus to come all the way from Eugene to pick us up to take us back home on a school night. Now, this season, I happen to have tonsillitis season again. So I was only going to school the maximum number of days that I had to go to school. And I was regularly playing with 103 to 104 degree temperature. You can damn well bet that achievement still means something to me to this day. Now, I have a friend who went to the Olympics almost 40 years ago. Do you think that means something to him? Oh, but it's the Olympics, so that's different, right? Because we're going to start distinguishing all these things, right? Okay, so I told him that, well, you know, it was on their website from 1988. He goes, oh, really? And I said, yeah. I said, I don't know if it's their personal website or it's the North Eugene website. He goes, well, I can't monitor personal websites. He goes, but you yourself said they said it on the loudspeaker and they put in the yearbook. Shouldn't that be enough for you? Yes, a man was telling me that this should be enough for me. This should be enough for me. Yes, women, we're being told again that this should be enough for us. This is the example we should be setting for our daughters. Don't worry, Mom. You don't have to worry about your achievements back then. We don't care. Don't stand up for yourself. You don't need to stand up for yourself. It's okay. It's okay if you let that man, boss you around and put you in your place and tell you that your achievements don't matter, that you got put in the yearbook, and that's perfectly fine. And, 38 years ago, now that's a different story. Because 38 years ago makes a complete and total difference. But 40 years ago, being the very first team, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. No. Don't worry about that, Mom. Coming from the mother of 3 girls who had to coach 4 soccer teams after 9/11 on 2 different secured military installations because all the men were called up and deployed. That was me. That wasn't Brandy. That was me. That wasn't North Eugene High School. That was me doing it. That was me coaching those teams. That was this woman who 40 years ago helped the first team from North Eugene go to state. And I helped 4 soccer teams on Stuttgart go to get to play that season. And you have any idea how happy their parents were that someone was willing to step up and make that sacrifice to help their kids maintain some normalcy? Maybe I should have just told them, well, no, I'm just a girl. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I don't really have any experience. I just, I had this thing that happened a long time ago, and it doesn't really mean anything because, the head of the 4J school district says, I got a knowledge for it a long time ago, and I should be happy with that, and doesn't matter anymore. But that's the difference between all the people that stayed within 5 miles of North Eugene High School and me. We sacrificed for our country, and we coached soccer. You didn't. There might be some people that did both, but they didn't stay within 5 miles of North Eugene High School. They didn't behave like spoiled brats like I'm seeing in this letter, unsubstantiated claims that they're all just family matters. No, they aren't family matters. She's not family. I don't know her. I don't. Like I said, the first time I met her was at her wedding. I can count on one hand the times that I've met her. I know things about her from what, my brother and my mother have said about her, but that's all she knows about me. Now, she also told me what her father used to say about wanting her to be more like me, but that's all I know. That's it. I really don't care about anything about her, except that one, she was so horrible, she made one of my closest friends from school quit his job at North Eugene. And two, she's so controlling, and she said here that she was only including the soccer teams that started after her father took over the coaching in 1980. So as I told the 4J dude, as my son would say, was that we could go one of two ways. Either it could get litigious just for me to have this put on the site because it is the North Eugene High School.4J website, or I can wait for Brandy to retire and I will be the first person saying, you're going to take all that shit down. Yeah, because I got the letter right here. You're going to take it all down. Or I will definitely become litigious. And then it's going to be a lot of damages. Kind of, Brandy, like you sued your other sister-in-law, then I can sue you too. And then it could be a little bit of fun. But I really would rather not. I'd really rather you act like an adult. I realize the two of you have never had to act like adults, but come on. What is it in the water in Eugene that it seems like no one can act like an adult? What is it? It's like everyone is stuck in high school. You don't move away, and it stunts your growth. I don't get it. I just don't. So let's see here. Now, I know Catherine Moran is a close friend of Brandy's. So, yeah, the cat was out of the bag on that one. And that is the reason that I started this, because it would not surprise me in the least if she was not just saying, yeah, I'm telling her that I'm trying to get people to do this, but I'm really not. And then, of course, the Heather 4J dude is like, oh, yeah, I believe you. Oh, no, 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 I believe you. You know, like my husband said, they have to live with them every day. They don't have to live with you every day. Like, oh, they're kind of about ready to have to live with me every day. Um, so what is she teaching the girls about Title IX? It only matters now. It doesn't matter back then. What she's trying to do is revisionist history. And that's wrong. We can't do that. You can't sit there and say, we're going to try and sweep this under the rug. We're going to try and pretend that nothing happened before 1987. Nothing happened before my father became a coach. Nothing happened before then. I mean, I had track records that were were at my junior high that were still there until the school was tore down. I mean, the way that this man behaved towards women and sports really needs to be looked into. He should not be around anybody, he should not be overseeing anyone who is coaching women in sports. He should not be overlooking any kind of allocation of funds when it comes to women in sports. He should not have anything to do with that whatsoever. And I did happen to see that there was controversy over a softball field on a bond measure at North Eugene, and apparently they built more soccer fields, which, go figure. I mean, why would they not build more soccer fields? I have no idea what came about from that bond measure, but I will find out, because I always do. I always do. But what I can tell you is that if you're watching this and you're in need of a softball field and we can find a place for it, there might be a possibility that I can get congressional funds to help fund that softball field for you. It's not as easy because you're not in a military district, which is what I specialize in, but it's still a possibility, particularly since you're a woman. It's a women's sport, and it's still Title IX. And if it means one of the soccer fields has to go, how many soccer fields do you have? And we do have Sweet Johnson Stadium, which my father built and didn't bother to kind of help out with the softball field. Of course, I stopped playing softball in ninth grade, so there was that. But still, that doesn't mean that, Corey Nicholson couldn't have found someone else to have helped build a nice softball field. Title IX, Corey, Title IX. You have to provide equal. You have to do that. That's the law. I'm surprised you haven't been sued. In fact, maybe I'll just roll that into mine because that's all it takes. It takes someone outside of your circle, apparently, to tell you what you're doing is wrong. And it can't be all about you. It can't be Brandy. It can't be Corey. It can't be Derek. It can't be your little group. Oh, who am I missing? Prios? Is there, Slaughters. I think I heard Slaughter. It can't be about just you all. There are more people that need things. And if a softball field is needed, it has to be equal. I may live in Colorado. It may take 3 different planes to get to Eugene, but I can get there. So that's all I have to say for now. See what comes out tomorrow. Bye.